Illinois walks it off on USC and Georgia Tech survives. Let's talk about that in the rest of the morning college football action. Illinois had control of this game the whole way, which is why the fumble in the end zone and then the USC touchdown to take the lead was such a shocking turn of events. But Luke Altmaier, the guy you trust with the ball in his hands at the end there, he takes them on the game-winning drive. They get the field goal. They walk it off. Makai Lemon for USC, just an absolute monster. You got to talk about him. But for Illinois, their season, their dreams this year, still very much alive. They can do some serious damage in the Big Ten. Their season isn't just over because of the bad Indiana loss. They flushed it. They got the win, a big one for them. Georgia Tech had absolutely no business winning this game and arguably should have lost on that offsides penalty, but it doesn't get called. They go to overtime. They find a way to grit this one out after falling down 17 early. The Yellow Jackets, they're vulnerable to this kind of loss, which is why it's kind of sketchy looking at their schedule. Yes, it looks advantageous on paper, but any given Saturday, if you're not careful, it could be your upset loss. So a clutch win for them, a heartbreaker for Wake Forest. Back-to-back games where they had the lead in ACC play and they just choke it. If you're ever having a bad day, just be grateful you're not an Arkansas fan. At home, it felt like it was a great spot where they could hand Notre Dame their third loss, but it was a get-right game for the Fighting Irish. The Arkansas defense just torched. Offensively, they could not get anything going. Notre Dame just turned it on, and this one was a bloodbath. It was one-sided. It was a game you switch away from after the first half because you could just tell Arkansas was completely outmatched. Huge shout out to Cincinnati. Scott Satterfield and company needed this victory early in the season, and they go out and get it. A huge, big-time, one-handed fourth down catch to keep them alive at the end there. Tough loss for Kansas. The defense is still a little bit of an issue, but both teams can still do great things this year in Big 12 play. We had a pretty fun shootout in the Big Ten. Rutgers and Minnesota trading blows, but at the end of the day, it was about the team that made less mistakes. Minnesota was able to keep it just a little bit cleaner, and because of that, they're able to come away with a nice conference victory, a big-time bounce-back win for them after that terrible loss to Cal a couple weeks ago. Another team that gutted out a late come-from-behind victory was Louisville. They went down 17-0 to Pitt, but then took advantage of a few special teams plays to take this one in the end. Miller Moss, just an absolute gamer, man. He just makes plays whenever he needs to. Another tough loss for Pitt early in the year, 2 one-possession losses, but still, with the ACC kind of being flipped on its head with Virginia upsetting Florida State, feels like Louisville may be one of those teams that can emerge as a dark horse ACC title contender. Finally, shout out to Duke, a dominant road victory at Syracuse. They bounced back after a tough, slow start to the season, some tough non-conference losses, a blowout victory for them. For Syracuse, they've got some offensive stuff to figure out. No Steve Angeli, pretty rough for them. Also, shout out to Kansas State for getting a conference win over UCF. UCF's undefeated start of the season is over, and also North Texas is undefeated 5-0, a nice win over South Alabama. But let me know down in the comments, what was the thing that surprised you the most from this crazy morning slate?